Melanin Voices is a podcast geared towards building a community of those on a journey of self-discovery. We create space for guests and listeners to share their stories about their exploration of life, appreciation of the good, and how they overcame certain bullshit to get to where they are.
Every week, we take a dive into topics that affect each of our lives at one point or another. Hopefully, by hearing our voices, we will give you the courage to live authentically.
I'm Mariah, also known as Mariah Amazing.
And Yuna, hey! Now you are tuned into Melanin Voices.
Ready?
Let's do it.
Do we just jump into this? This is new for us.
I know.
Devin, are you recording this? We didn't get no countdown. That's crazy. But yeah, so we're not sure exactly how to start this because usually we'd be in some sweats, a hoodie at Devin's house, just recording.
Chilling.
So now that we're all dressed up, y'all are here. This is different.
Yeah, for sure. But we appreciate you guys being here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all. So if we seem awkward or nervous, it's because we very much are. So we're not going to act like we're something we're not, because we're not nervous. So yeah, it is what it is. But so we already did, prior to the start of the show, we did a rose and thorn for everyone in the room, but we didn't do a current mood. So me and you're not going to share ours. My current mood is anxious.
Yeah.
I'm anxious. Yeah,
I'm super nervous, but I know once we get rolling, hopefully that'll roll off.
Yeah,
too.
I think it's more so to do with just like, I don't know. It's a lot, but I guess the main thing is just like throwing an event for like your podcast, just because to me it's a big deal, because I guess we'll just hop into it. No, you gotta say your current mood. Is that your current mood too?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we'll just segue into it. So we're going to talk about like our why and why we got started. So if you don't know how we got started, Michelle Moore, we went to Marbella High School together. What's up? Shout out to the Warriors. So we went to Marbella High School together.
Raise the roof.
Do we see somebody from Georgia over there? Do we see
Boo.
East High? Okay. Anyway, so we went to high school together, but our paths never crossed because Michelle was like an athlete. She was a jock. I was a little brainiac. So we really never crossed paths, but I knew who she was. And anyways, long story short, we left high school. We left college. And I get a Snapchat from her like, hey, girl, like, you want to do a podcast together? I'm like, I didn't know you knew me. But sounds good. Sounds great. And then a couple months went by, I'm like, she ain't really trying to start no podcast. So I just kind of like rolled off the back of my head. I always wanted to do it, but I'm like, nah, maybe it's not meant to be, I guess. And then she called me like, hey, like, let's really start this podcast. So I'm like, how? You in New York? I'm in Denver. Like, how is that going to even work? She's like, well, my husband, he has like this system where he does with his meetings and we can make it happen. And I'm like, well, let's make it happen. So like for weeks we was like trying to think of names. She's like, I just wanted to be for like Black people. I wanted to be empowerment. I wanted to be all these things. And I'm like, okay, so do I, but I don't know what to name us. What we gonna call ourselves? Queens? No shade. That's fine. I'm just saying for me, I thought that was a little cliche. So I was like, I want to do something that incorporates everybody, every Black person, not just women or just men, non-binary, everybody that is Black. I wanted to incorporate everyone. So I was like, that's kind of, exclusatory, I guess. It excludes people. So I was like, she was like, well, I wanted to say melanin. And I'm like, cool, but I wanted to be like, I want people to like to hear themselves. I want them to like use their voice. She was like, cool. And I'm like, what about Melanin Voices? And she was like, that's fucking dope. Let's do it. So I'm like, cool. Let's do it. So we planned our first episode, and I was like really like obsessed with Insecure. So I'm like, every episode's gonna be about Insecure. We're gonna just do a recap of Insecure each episode. Michelle's like, no, we're not. Like on air, she was like, no, we're not. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work, because she told me I can't do what I want to do. But I'm happy she told me like, no, we're gonna make a lane for ourselves. Because if we do something just Insecure, that's cool to talk about. But at that point, we're like really kind of following somebody else's lane. I want to make my own lane and talk about what I want to talk about and not be, in this box of what we can and can't talk about. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, cool, but you ain't got to say it like that on air in front of everybody. But so that's how that started. And then, we kept doing episodes, and Love came. So she got pregnant, and she was big, and I was like, so what are we about to do about, I'm like, I ain't trying to be insensitive, but what are we going to do about the show? Because you can't record while you're on leave. Like, I would hate for you to be breastfeeding and have to be like, let me stop, let me do something. So I'm like, we probably should take a break, because I don't feel comfortable having my baby. I feel like Melanin Voices is my baby. I don't want just anybody to come in. She's like, well, get a guy, like, liven it up, it's just us two women. I'm like, I don't want a guy. I was like, we can have a guest, but I don't want, no, this is me and you. Like, we together. You don't have to leave me. And she was like, okay, Mariah, like, if somebody reaches out, cool, be open, but I don't think you should just block out. I was like, I'm just going on break. I'm just breaking. How long you going to be on maternity leave? 3 months? Cool. I can break for 3 months. That's cool. You going to be back, right? Yeah, you can. Nova will be good. She's straight. She'll be all right. She was like, all right, I'm just letting you know I'm not in a rush to come back. So I was like, no big deal. So I went about my day to my miserable job. And I get a Snapchat from Una here. And she was like, hey, I'm really just wanting to, like, know what to do. I'm kind of, like, in between things. I'm not really sure what I should do. Basically, what I'm trying to ask is, can I don't know, experiment with being on your podcast? And I was like, well, this comes at a really good time. Michelle said, be open. I know Una. We went to school together. She's cool. All right, like, let me ask Michelle. Michelle was like, well, I told you to be open, and it happened. Maybe it's meant to be. And I was like, she's like, maybe it's a sign. I'm like, maybe you should just come back. And she was like, no, Mariah, I think you should do it. And I was like, okay, cool. I like Una. She's cool. I mean, I feel like it wouldn't be much to have to get to know, because, like I said, me and Michelle didn't really speak much, but at least I knew Una. I had spoken to her a few times. So it won't be a whole getting to know process. So got them two on the phone together. They spoke. Michelle was all for it. And then Una joined. We did a few episodes together. And
here we are, right?
Here we are.
My side of the story, because, of course, there's always two sides.
And then the truth.
Right. There's
always 3.
There's probably 10 sides to a story,
basically.
Right? So, like Mariah said, we all went to high school together. None of us were really, like, friends.
Nah.
We knew who each other were, but,
because my bubble is, like, really small. Like,
right.
Everybody knows everybody.
Right.
It's like low-key a big happy family. No, dysfunctional family. You're going to fight you on Monday, but Tuesday, we're going to ride for you out there. Right. Whoever's trying to fight you, no. Because they're not going to fight you, but I can fight you.
Oh, my. So she's violent, obviously, clearly.
Okay.
It was like around my birthday, actually. Mariah reached out to me. She was like, hey, we're going to be in New Orleans, and let's go out. Let's hang out. And I'm like, okay. Because it was so weird, because we were never, like, friends or anything. But Mariah, she don't know a stranger. She's like, you want to come over here? Come over here. Let's do this. Let's hang out together. So that's how we, like, connected again, I say. And then I started listening to their podcast, and I heard Michelle was pregnant. So I'm like, I wonder what they're gonna do when Michelle goes on maternity leave. And you always want to try new things, but you're scared or nervous or, like, not feeling super comfortable. But I'm like, let's just take this leap of faith. That was, like, the trend in my life at that time. And I reached out to her, like, so what are you guys gonna do? And she was like, I don't know, do you want to give it a shot? And I'm like, yeah, definitely. So we spoke to Michelle, and it was a go, and that's how it all got started.
Yeah.
And then I thought I was just going to be on, like, for a while until Michelle came back, but they asked me to stay, and I was like, yes, okay. I did something good for myself, finally.
Don't do that. And then we convinced her to move to Denver. Yeah. She's like, I could have stayed in New Orleans.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's how I got started with the podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
So if we read off of our questions.
Go ahead, girl.
It's all right. So why do you continue to do it, Why have you stayed doing Melanin Voices? Because, like you said, you could have left after Michelle came back.
Right. I think this podcast gives me an excuse to say how I feel, which I don't always take the opportunity to do. And
listen, like, we'll be, like, talking, and, like, I know she don't agree with something, so I'll be like, do you want to say something? Do you got something to say? She'll be like, nope. Nope. And I'm like, okay. And then she'll be like, She'll text me like, I just wanted to let you know that I was feeling like, I was like, that's crazy. Because I literally
don't tell everybody my business, girl. Dang.
But sometimes we taking advantage. Like, you want nothing to say? She's like, nope. Like, all right, cool. We just not gonna say nothing. But yeah, she is like that.
Yes, I am.
But you're getting better.
I think sometimes I just feel like I don't know the line between choosing your battles and speaking up for yourself, because some things are not worth the argument or the conversation. For this event, we had so many like back and forths. Me and Mariah are like fire and ice,
like bumped heads all the way.
We did, but I mean it turned out great. But yeah, and I think, I don't know, just that voices side of Melanin Voices is like why I keep going, because I'm allowed to express myself and use my voice, which is something that, like I said, I don't normally do outside of this podcast. And I get to meet great people. It gives me an excuse to talk to people, like people I probably wouldn't normally walk up to. I'd be like, hey girl, tell me about yourself. Like, what do you do? And then I'm like, come on our podcast. And then we get to know each other and then, create a friendship. That's my why. What about you? Why are you still doing this?
Why do I continue to do it? Because I don't want to. I literally feel like it's my little creative baby. I don't want to let it go. There's a lot of times, y'all, like Melanin Voices is an expensive hobby, okay? Like, we ain't gonna pay for this. We go to Devin's house and we give him money to record this because we like the quality and we want to just get our voice out there. I mean, if y'all want to sponsor us, we would. Melanin Voices 1@gmail.com is how you can reach us.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, yeah, so it's an expensive hobby. So there's many times where I'm like, you know what? We can just stop
done.
right now. We can really be done. We went through so many changes, like of studios. When we first started, I was sleeping on my parents' couch for 3 years straight, and I was literally like, this is just too expensive for me. Like, I go to bed crying, like I can't do this. But I would get on the podcast and I would just vent my frustrations. And there's been so many times Michelle's like, just come to New York, just come out there, and I'm like, I should have went. I should have went to New York. It's fine. Anyways, yeah. So I would be in my parents' closet because they're loud. They're coming out the house. You black parents, you can't tell them what to do in their house.
Right. You better not.
You can go to your friend's house and record your little project. But now that here, you ain't regulating nothing. So I would literally just go to their closet and put my mic up against the wall and literally record that way, while they're watching TV or doing something, and just pray that our audio comes out good. And sometimes it didn't. Like, our first couple of episodes, like the first year, our podcast was real shaky. It didn't sound that great. Michelle was also in New York, so the quality wasn't that great either, but we still kept going. Then we had a change in engineers. We had a change in studios. We were recording at one studio where I just feel like the respect wasn't there because we were women. We were the only women in that space. It was like a lot of rappers and stuff, and we were the only women there, so we had to like really fight for a place there, and we was tired of fighting, so we just decided to do something else.
Yeah, our engineer change situation was very
it was a lot.
Hectic.
So
this is how we record, y'all. We be texting each other.
We be like,
notes,
the mic up.
Everything.
Yeah. So it was a lot, and then that last situation was like, and then Devin, who's our current engineer now, reached out to us to do a podcast collab. And I'm like, yo, how'd you even find us? Like, how'd you even find our podcast? You're from Texas. Like, how'd you find us? So he told us how he found us, and we go to his studio his house to record. You call it his studio? Okay, cool. We go to his house to record, and we're like, this is pretty. How much you charge?
Right.
Can we come record our podcast here? And it kind of just worked out that way, and that's how we started recording there. Because at first we was gonna just do the library, and then that didn't work out too well. We did the library, and it started to feel like old stuff, so we just stopped doing it.
Yeah.
And
we lost a couple episodes that way too with using the library.
We lost so many episodes in the library.
We lost episodes back. Period, which was a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was too much. I wanted. It was a learning process. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, we've been through a lot of.
You got something to say?
Hell yeah, we've been through. I mean, heck yes.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it seems like I don't know, just people didn't respect us as a podcast and didn't respect us as people or as women, and just, or I felt like they didn't believe in us, and we had to get gone. Either they left us or we left them or whatever. And I think that now where we are is in a good space. Our engineer encourages us so much. He like gives us tough love all the time.
Me
and
more so.
No, he gives us both tough love.
Right. I feel like you're his favorite, but it's fine. It's okay. There has to be a chosen one.
But I don't know. When someone gives you tough love, to me, it makes me feel like they give a damn. Because some people will just let you do whatever, and they're like, "Oh, you're good. It sounds good," and it you listen back to it, and they're like, "No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't
at all.
You don't even care,
right?
Like, you not care about your work too, because that makes me think like, okay, so you don't care about ours, cool, I guess. But what about your portfolio? Because this is going in your portfolio, because we're gonna tag you and say you're an engineer. Right. So yeah, I don't know, because for me, I'm just like, I feel like. At first, it was like more of a, when we went to our studio or whatever the case was, they were reaching out to us, like trying to do favors, and it was like cool. But honestly, stop, you're annoying.
Stressed.
I personally don't like when people do favors for me. I just rather just pay you for a price, or we gotta really be like, you gotta be my family for me to take a favor, just because
people treat you a certain way.
They do. Yeah. They really do. Like, oh, it's a favor.
Wait,
okay, cool.
Oh.
I'd rather just pay. What's your price? No, I'm gonna try. What's your price? What do you charge everybody else? What do they, like, for real? Because I don't want it, because I just feel like it just creates a lot of conflict.
Yeah.
Now that I've learned.
And sometimes when you do people favors, they're like, "Okay, what can you do for me now?"
Right.
And
it's
that
a favor.
Sucks. Right.
So
some people aren't like that, but seems like most people are.
Yeah, I feel you. That's how we.
In the business world.
in the business
world, yeah.
I think that's what Melanin Voices taught us, like, is how to conduct business. Because me, I'm really like, oh yeah, they are.
You gonna go tell them something? You gonna go tell them something? Second.
Anybody know how to speak Spanish? Nah, you was in Colombia speaking all the Spanish. So you might know a thing or two. Wasn't she in Colombia speaking all the Spanish? Now she don't know.
Wow.
You can?
Okay.
No, it's okay. I think it's a party. It's a celebration. I don't know what's going on. We're both. You know what? Don't.
He said we're good. We're
good. They helped us move our chairs in. So
it's not the barbershop. It's on the other side.
Oh, it's on the other side.
Yeah. Right.
Hey. Right. We can see it that way, or, anyways. Yeah. Where the heck were we before I was sidetracked? Oh yes, when we started. So like I said, when I first started podcasting, or like, I was always wanted to be nice to everybody. Like, yay, like, it's okay, it's cool. Like, I wanted to be the nice guy, and then I got around Michelle. Shout out to you, but she is not that. You're not going to try to jib her nothing. Mm-hmm. She'll be like, no, yeah, no, that's not right, no, we paid for this, no. So why did you say that? Why did you do that? Why did you feel that was okay?
Right.
Like, and I'm like, she thinks that. No, I think this. Like, so that made me have more of a voice to be around people that are, like, strong and like, no, I'm not about to take what you're giving, because it's not warranted, it's not needed, and I'm good. But before this, I'm like just trying to be nice with everybody, like trying to be everybody's friend. And I just noticed that sometimes you have to really separate the two. Yeah. Sometimes you can't really do business with all your friends. It's just not the dynamic that you want to have.
Right.
For me, anyways. I just feel like sometimes, or you have to be very stern. You got to stand on your word. You got to stand 10 toes in what you're saying, and just be firm in what you say, because when you backtrack or you slide, that's when people can kind of like come in there and be like, well, you said this, or I feel like you were trying to say this. So contracts become a thing. I have written a lot of contracts and not thankfully work for a lawyer, so I know exactly the right verbiage to put in the contracts, because it gets really ugly real fast.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that gets me back to the point of like being able to use your voice and being able to say, no, that's not how it goes, or no, that's not how I want it, and be okay with it. Because sometimes we say no and then we're like, well, I'm saying no because of this, and it's like, that's not always necessary. Right. In the business world, things get really, really grimy really fast, and people, like I said, try to mess over you. And especially because we're women, and I feel like most of the like recording industry is filled with men. Because we, like we said, we've gone to multiple studios, and it's like they try to like, you know, treat us
different.
Yeah,
like people coming in and out smoking weed and during your segment, you like, nigga,
we're recording here.
This is in session. I paid for my session.
Right?
Like,
do you mind?
Can I get my session? Hey, can you? No. Why are you trying to smoke weed in my session?
Can I get my charger?
I got asthma. Like, can you go? Like, you in there passing the inhaler, girl. Damn, he's trying to kill me. Like, that's I'm like, I just don't like going to certain studios because they just be really.
They run their business different.
They run it different, and no shade. But I'm just saying, for me, right now, the situation that we have is great.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we have somebody that actually cares about their work. So even if they didn't care about ours, he cares about the quality of his stuff, so it works. That's what I will say.
Okay. I was looking at this next question.
Ask me?
Yeah, I've been wanting to ask you what made you put
What you been wanting to ask?
I've been wanting to ask you what made you put this on here. I'm just curious.
Wait, ask me.
No.
Don't ask out loud.
It's cool. That's what I'm saying. No, I just want to know like your thought.
Why did I put it on there? Because it was I Googled like questions that make you find your why.
Gotcha.
And that seemed cool.
Gotcha.
I don't know. It didn't really intersect with what we were talking about.
No, I just wanted to know your thought process. I'm not like.
Yeah, no. You gotta ask the question.
No, I'm asking this question.
Oh God.
What do friends and family usually seek your input for? Why do people come to you for your advice, or what do they come to you for your advice for?
I would say, can you go first?
No, I can't. Sorry.
Okay. I would say they come to me for encouragement. Thanks.
I'm like, is this Chinese? I thought it was.
No. Okay. Stay into the mic. I would say they come to me for encouragement and sometimes to even vent, or sometimes to like do like just creative stuff or just ask my opinion on certain things for advice.
Yeah.
I think that's what they come to me for. What are you looking at?
I'm laughing.
Money, family in Detroit. Money. Oh, you got $20. Like, it's kind of. Don't know.
I'm done.
Don't understand. I don't see.
I ain't saying that. You ain't putting me in.
You asked what they come to me for. That is what they come to me for. But go ahead. Go ahead. What do they come to me for?
I think people just come to me to vent mostly.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it.
So some therapy, some friend therapy.
Friend therapy, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to learn how to. Some people don't call you for advice; they just call you to vent. And it's like when there's empty space, you're like, "Oh, this is what you should do," and it's like, no, they're just pausing or they're just processing, and that's not the space for you to say something.
Yeah.
So I'm just learning how to let space be empty and be comfortable with that, because that's tough for me.
That is. Yeah, no. That is for me too. Do you get frustrated with that though?
What?
But if the friend comes to you with the same situation over and over again, do you get frustrated?
There have been times when I have, but then I'll go through the situation myself and I'll be like, okay.
That happens to me so many times to humble me. Like, oh, that's crazy. That literally just happened to me.
Does that happen to you? I feel like
that happens to me often.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Happens to me all the time. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that's exactly why friends come to me. Why are you doing that?
I'm sorry, I won't look at you.
Sorry, behind the scenes. Sorry, y'all. But yeah, so I think that's why they come to me.
Okay.
You put a lot of questions on here, friend.
Well, find your favorite one. Or your least favorite. Find your least favorite.
Let's talk about relationships and being in business.
Okay, let's do it. What you want to know?
Have you found that people... Okay, I'm going to speak my truth because I have the floor. I feel like in the industry, I feel like people will try to like talk to you, or it's happened to me. I'll speak for myself. Mm-hmm. Like when we go into certain settings, they'll be like, yeah, so like, can I get on the podcast? And I'll be like, sure, what do you want to talk about? And they'll be like, me and you, like, Oh, so my schedule is like
Gross.
we have Saturday at like 11. We talk about mental health and like it's just awkward. It's just like that's not this. My DM is not for that. Right? You can email me, but I'm just like it's just so weird because I just don't understand like that. What possessed you? Like
Yeah, I haven't had that happen. I'm
I've
not
had
as
that
fly
happen
as
a
you.
few
I'm just saying, I haven't.
I mean,
But I
you're
have
pretty
had, huh?
I'll tell you pretty fun.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But I have had people come to me that I feel like their message doesn't like align with our show, and that's also tough. Like I feel like Mariah, what should I say? Like how do we figure this out? Because you never know when you're gonna need people, and you don't want to like come off like
You're better than them.
right. Because sometimes people believe that you don't want to come off like that. So I'm like,
can we tell the story? I tell the story every time.
Go ahead, girl.
We went to a podcast in Detroit and we told the story. So I'm gonna refrain from saying their names. But we did have somebody that was somebody back in the day, and it's really weird because this girl did not like me in high school.
It'd be like that.
I wouldn't say bully, but she literally would like do like random stuff in class, like, "Oh, Mariah, why are you wearing that like in the middle of class?" Like,
she was
because
a
I
bully.
want to.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to.
She's a bully.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I want to. Anyway, so she hit me up like when she see me have the podcast, like, "Hey, Mariah Carey, remember I used to call you that?" I do, and I hated it then. I hate it now.
Right.
What do you want? Like, I never.
How can I help you?
Right. What do you want? Yeah, I'm trying to get on the podcast, because I'm about to be, I'm about to be a comedian, so I'm about to try to get on a podcast. I'm like, let me talk to Michelle. Michelle, what do you think? She was like, I mean, if you want her on, like, I don't know. We never had a comedian on. I don't know what purpose she's gonna serve, but I mean, it's up to you. I was like, what do you think? Like trying to get them to say no so I could say no. And they was like,
she do that, y'all.
I mean, maybe. We should have her on. I'm like, so the girls think that it'd be cool if you came on. She was like, okay, cool. Let's do this day. I asked Una, Michelle. At this point, Michelle has Nova, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, so her time is like on a crunch. So she's an event planner, a mom, and a wife. So her time is really precious. So we set up a time. The girl was like, oh, I got to go into work. I'm like, we record in 30 minutes. So, yeah, you knew for 2 weeks, though. So I'm like, that had left a bad taste in my mouth. So then we record without her, obviously. And then a week goes by. She's like, hey, can you guys record this day? And I'm like, you know what? Let me just say how I truly feel. I was like, I don't think that we'll have time to record because I just feel like last time you didn't really respect our time. So I think I'm going to have to just move from here.
She ain't like that.
Nah, she ain't like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think y'all are fake. Y'all are fake because y'all be trying to act like y'all for black people, but y'all really not. You gotta really watch out for people like that, because I don't know why y'all act like that. You could have just said no to begin with, and I guess y'all can just have your little podcast, and stay up, queens.
Exactly.
I
Be
think
blessed.
I still have the message.
Girl, don't read it.
Petty.
Don't read it.
But I won't do it. So basically I said, and ever so eloquently, I think I reached out to a couple of my scholar friends, Angel and Kayla, shout out to you too, and was like, so how should I, what big words should I use just to get back at her, get right, you know what I mean? Like, she ain't gonna really know what it means. She gotta look it up with her dumb ass.
Stop.
So I reached out to her so big word. The only reason we had you come because we believed in what you were trying to do, queen. And that's why Michelle and Una thought to have you in, because if it was up to me, I would have had you. And you're right, all skin folk ain't kin folk. We see that that's clear through you. And to furthermore, if you really cared about your career the way that you're saying, you would have never been late or actually adamant to come on a show that you had no intention of actually coming on at that time. You literally didn't care about our time. You missed the whole thing. And then, so yeah, that happened. And then she was like, yeah, I feel you though. Yeah, I feel you, queen. And blocked me and went on a whole tangent. People was blocking me too. I'm sure she told the whole timeline that I was just on some other stuff. But I just felt like that really gave me my voice to speak up. Michelle was like, watch it, because she's big. She might beat you up. And she has a record for beating people up. And I was like, we might have to just come. We might not big like she really was about that. In high school, she about that action. So I was like, you're right, but we're not in high school, and she's moved. So I think I'm good. I think I'm good. I think I gotta leave. You know what I mean? I'm never really out on the scene like that, so she might not catch me when she comes to town.
Oh my
So I was like, I feel confident saying this. But anyway, so I have a lot of people too that reach out, and it's like Una was saying, like it's hard to like say no because they can react like that.
Mm-hmm.
Never had nobody act to that extreme, but I've had people like continuously ask, like, hey, can I come on? You know, actually, I think this podcast would be more fitting for you. And they'll be like, all right, cool. Hey, can I come on? And it's like, I don't know how to keep saying no if it's saying like different ways. Like, like, I'm like, you don't want to reply to this message? Or I'll be like, hey, can you like email us? And they'll be like, email? Why should I email you? And I'm like, because there's two of us. And like, if you could DM us, it's like, it's crazy. Like, our email's right there. So you could just use it. We really reply more to our emails than our DMs anyways, but people be getting like really offended if you ask them to email you. It's really crazy. Like, wow, I thought you were professional. That's what we do in the professional space, but you know.
Everybody ain't like that.
No, everybody's not like that.
So what's like your most valuable lesson from the podcast? Like being in the space?
I think my most valuable lesson is to speak up.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I
okay.
I didn't have a comma. It was definitely a period.
Okay.
Yeah.
To speak up.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, I should have thought about an answer before.
I know. It's okay.
Oh. I'm sorry, Devin.
I'm not gonna let it slide. Go ahead.
I would probably say the same thing, to just speak up and know what you want and go for it, I guess. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. I
think you low-key let me go back to my first question because I asked you and you didn't answer.
What?
So let's ask it again. Mm-hmm. Have you found it difficult to date while being?
Girl, you did not ask me that.
I dead ass did.
No, you did not. She said something about relationships.
I did. Two people said I did.
But she ain't say like a question. It was just like word.
That's four people. That's four people.
Hey,
you're one.
We could play this back. Okay.
Sorry, you know we always do this though. Yeah.
Oh, we recording. My bad. Oh, you good?
Have you found it difficult today or
no?
It's cool. Do they ever ask you like?
Girl, no, girl.
Okay, what about like work?
What
Give
about
me something? Did they ever ask you like, hey?
What? Okay, so. No.
What? You want me to ask a question? You want me to answer a question? What? What do you want from me? Like, yes.
What do you want from me? I've never had anybody like a guest try to come at me or anything.
That's crazy because I think that's differently, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm like, what, girl? What you?
She can sense it too. That's BS. She can. Sense
I haven't. Do you know something that I don't?
Yes, I do. I'll talk off camera.
Oh, okay.
What about work? Have you run into like your coworkers or your boss knowing that you do?
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I thought you was about to ask me something else.
And if they do, how do you feel about that?
Yeah. I haven't like had my boss listen to the show, so I'm not like afraid of that. But I have had like coworkers and like random people ask me to come on the show, and I'd be like, oh, okay. And then I kind of like go like leave it alone, because I just, like I said, I just feel like their message doesn't align with what we have to say.
Yeah.
Or I'd be like, okay, what you want to talk about? And they'd be like, I don't know. And I'd be like, well, I don't know either.
Right.
Kind of thing.
I really don't.
I don't know.
That's like literally going for a job. Like,
why you want this job?
A lot of openings. Right. What fits best to you? I don't know.
Right.
Would you tell a recruiter that?
Right.
Nah, you probably wouldn't, but who knows? Maybe you would.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we don't want people to come on the show. We definitely do. But, I mean, if you don't know what you want to talk about, what are we supposed to do with that information? Yeah. If we reach out to people, it's usually for a specific reason. Like, we want you to come on the show to talk about this thing. Here's an outline. This is what we're going to discuss.
Right. Please sign this waiver.
Right.
Please sign this waiver. Please.
Right.
I would say for me, I get uncomfortable when people ask me at work what I do, because my boss literally like went to listen to my recording. Like,
oh yeah,
she listened to a couple of my episodes. I'm just like, I don't want you to know what I'm going through, because I'm like at work. I just come, I do my job, I go home, come do my job, go home.
That is the
That's
thing I'm
it.
fearful of, though. Sometimes I speak about my relationships and stuff like that, and sometimes I've had people like text me after they listen to the podcast, and I'm like,
I didn't know you felt that way.
I didn't know you was gonna hear that, but I mean, it's out there now, so let's talk about it.
Yeah. I was wondering about that episode too, because we had one with Sandrea over there, who is a counselor, and she came on and talked to us about mental health and like transitioning. And Yuna talked about her past relationships and why that she wants her cake and eat it too with a certain somebody, and that didn't happen, and he left.
He did.
He gone.
Mhm.
Peace. But we talked about that, and I was like, I wonder what he's gonna say if he hears this, and he heard it.
Yeah. He heard an episode before that when the Keller with Devin, and you were like, no, he was wrong. He was like, oh, so he just texted me out the blue like, oh, I was wrong, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Say that.
And that's crazy because people text you out of the blue, and they're like, you're like, I recorded this 7 weeks ago. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened. But I mean, I said how I felt, and that was that.
I mean, y'all ain't together, so it's cool. If y'all was together, you probably have to go home to that. You like,
Right. Yeah, he doesn't live here, so we're good.
Yeah, it's good.
Mm.
It's straight.
We all good.
Cool. Now we're gonna open the floor to y'all. Do y'all have any questions?
Smooth
for
transition
us?
for him.
Do y'all want to say anything?
We got questions for y'all if y'all don't have questions for us.
Yeah,
so y'all
so,
might
I
want
mean,
to
y'all
come
might
with
as
it.
well have questions.
Y'all might want to come with it.
I hate you. Mm-hmm.
And maybe you said this and I missed it, but was there a time when it was 3 of you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was this time when there was me, Michelle, and Yuna at one point, and then there's just me and Yuna. I think our last episode, I don't even know the name of it, but I think it was the end of 2018
Mm-hmm.
with Michelle,
Yeah.
and going into 2019.
Yeah, like we said, this is a very expensive hobby, and when you have a family, when you have a child and a husband to take care of, you got to think about your priorities, and
Right.
we get that. We still love her. We still see her.
Right. We go to New York. I go visit her. You know,
Yes.
stay with her.
Yeah,
New
we
York
be
is
staying.
expensive.
We be mooching.
We definitely be mushing, but we be babysitting though.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
a favor for a favor.
Right. We're gonna take you to brunch with us, girl. That's about it.
Right.
You know. But yeah, so yeah, there was 3 of us at one point. Anyone else have any questions about the podcast or about us too? No,
Anything.
because we're gonna have questions for you.
Right. We got them lined up.
Okay, Lamb and then Elsie.
What were some of you guys' favorite moments or highlights so far?
Our favorite moments or highlights.
I can go first.
Okay.
So I was at a concert one time, and there was this girl in the bathroom, and she was like, a bathroom attendant. I don't know the technical term for it. And she had like a fishbowl of affirmations, and I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, why are you here? This is so like, I don't know. And so she got to talking to me about, her purpose, and I was like, you have to come on the show. And she came on, she talked about yoga and upcycle sewing, and me and Mariah found out that you can recycle your underwear, ladies, if you were ever curious about
Did not know that.
But they don't turn them into clothes, they turn them into like washcloths for your car and stuff like that. But anyways, from that conversation, like a whole new chapter in my life opened. I learned a lot about yoga, and I'm now certifying to become a doula, and it's all because of that one conversation. So just like I said, meeting people and having a reason to talk to them. Sometimes you're like, no, I don't have anything to say, but this gives me like something to say to people.
Right.
That's my highlight. It's a good question.
I think so too. My highlight is I went to like a game night on some random stuff, and I walk in. It was like a game night. It was like collaboration meeting or whatever. And I walk in, and that's when I met Keisha and Charlie. They're the ones who oversee the space now. And they were like, "Oh, I know your podcast. You're Melanin Voices. Da, da, da. You know what? Insecure." I think that's the premiere of Insecure season 3 was coming out. Keisha's like, "You know what? I'm thinking of like throwing a watch party at the Whittier Cafe. Do you want to y'all want to co-host with me?" And I was like,
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I was trying to be chill, like, yeah, I think we can do that. I text you like, oh my God, bitch, I just met this girl. She's trying we love Insecure. She loves Insecure. Let's do it.
Right.
And I text her, I said, yeah, I think she's with it. Yeah, I think we're going to do it. Yeah, we're going to do it. So it was really cool making connections with people just I guess based off of our podcast.
Yeah.
So,
Another highlight for me is going to being able to travel with the podcast. So we did a collaboration with a Detroit podcast.
hey, shout out to
called-
Detroit.
Right. Okay.
Don't fucking
I'm sorry. You're right.
Don't do it, cause y'all been doing it. Devin been doing it.
I ain't
You
gonna
have
say
been
that,
doing
baby.
it. I've been doing it.
The podcast is called The Unicorns Are Real Podcast. It's a really dope
It's hella
podcast
dope.
for artists. But anyways, getting to be able to travel is like one of my loves, and traveling with the podcast was super fun. And we got to go to Canada.
We did. We drove to Toronto the next day. That was a long trip.
Yeah.
We literally only had like 4 hours of sleep, and we were like on the road.
On the road.
We got to do
again.
Canada again because that wasn't the best trip.
Yeah.
Because literally, like, we literally were so sleepy, but we had to like get up.
When she
and go.
said we, she mean she.
I was so
Okay.
sleepy.
Her.
Okay, like we got.
I'm like, girl,
Okay,
get
so-
up.
First of all, we went to Detroit. No, y'all gonna play me out. So what happened was we literally recorded the podcast. Then right after that, we went to lunch. Then which turned into dinner because that wasn't really lunch. That was dinner. It was like 5 o'clock. Then we went downtown, walked around all Detroit's downtown. Then they're like, you know what? Let's go to the club. I'm like, no, like it's 11 o'clock. Like we literally have been up since 8 a.m. and like it was 11 o'clock at night. And I was like, can I just go home and shower? Like I just gonna go shower. You know how you be out all day? You just like wanna.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah. I know.
No one wants to shower. So I'm like, they're like, oh, we thought y'all were gonna be down. And I'm like, I had to get real close up on her. Like, listen, I have been up since 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm tired. I want to take a shower again because it's 11 o'clock at night. And I want to change. Like, I have on jeans and a tank top. I'm not walking into a club like this. No, I'm too old for that. Like, I want to dress up at a club. She was like, well, let's go to like
A wine
an
bar.
art exhibit, like a little wine bar. And I was like, I don't even drink, but sure, I'll take one for the team. So we went to this wine bar, and I literally fell asleep at the table. Like, it was so embarrassing.
Granny.
She was like, tell me about this guy. She's like, yeah, so he's been texting me, and like, what do you think? Because she was like, you just like, kind of, y'all just had an episode about, and I was like dozing off. She's like, Mariah. I can just hear her saying Mariah, and then you didn't welcome me. She's like, how was your nap? How was your nap at the table? And I felt so like played because I told them it's 11:30. Like, can we just go home and take a nap, get back up? We can revisit this. And we had to get up in the morning to go to Canada. So I was just like, really, like, we're not no spring chickens. We have to I had to take
Who
my
ain't?
nap. I'm about to be 27, and I just feel like my life is just flashing before my eyes.
Stop
and I
it.
have to take my naps. I'm sorry. Saying, you agree. Naps are vital. Thank you. Because I'll be texting her, and she's like, sorry, I just woke up from a nap. And I'll be doing the same thing, like, sorry, I just woke up from a nap. Our whole conversations are, sorry, I just woke up from a nap. Sorry, I just woke up from a nap. Sorry, I just woke up from a nap. So she understands. Una and them did not understand where I was coming from when I said I want to take a nap before the club. Those naps before the clubs really get me through the club.
She's lying again. We went to Canada and you took a nap and you was like
It wasn't long enough.
She was like groggy.
It wasn't
moving
long
slow.
enough.
I'm like ready to go and she's like still getting dressed. I'm like, that's a damn shame.
It wasn't long enough. So when we got to Canada, we literally dropped off our bags and literally head out the door and like did some touristy stuff, went to go get lunch. And I'm like, it's 4 or 5 o'clock. Can I just take a quick nap? We finally, because our Airbnb was like 30, 45 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
So we literally like go to, anyways, we come back around 6, 7 o'clock. And I'm like, can I just take a nap? And so I took a nap to like 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
And we got up and we went out.
Okay, I'm gonna let you have it.
She didn't like none of the bars we went into.
Yeah, blame it on me. Okay.
So how was it my fault?
Fool, y'all, she did not want to do nothing. She was like moving slow, but the clubs were expensive though. I can't pay to get in the club. Men, I don't know how y'all be paying $50, $100 to get in the club. I can't fuck with it.
What y'all be doing?
Men be having to pay to get in the club. We get in free sometimes.
I'm not paying up 50.
Oh,
So y'all don't pay? Oh, that's cool.
I guess not.
But there was like some big event. I think it was like a Toronto rapper was at the club, and they were like, it wasn't Drake, unfortunately, it wasn't Aubrey. So yeah, so there's that.
Oh, we were just gonna ask another question. That's all.
Oh no, Elsie had a question.
So my question is, you mentioned that some topics don't align with the podcast. So what are those topics that don't align with the podcast?
That's a
Like, what are you
good
not willing to
ass
talk about?
question.
I mean, I think when people want to come on to strictly talk about their music and the like lyrics of their music, it's like opposite of what we're for. That's kind of like, I don't know about that. I think we've had the subject matter. I think we had a lady. I know. I don't want to say like.
Say it. She probably listening.
Yeah.
That I didn't say it, ma'am. That's Una. I'm Mariah.
What subjects don't align, friend?
I would agree with the whole music thing. I just feel like when you try to just come on and just promote your new mixtape, that's cool. But I feel like there's podcasts that are like centered towards that.
Right.
Ours is more so about relationships, love, dating, mental health,
Right.
things like that, like in that sector. So if you want to come and talk about your album, that's cool. But how does that relate to what we talk about?
Right.
How can we?
And if you could tie it in, then we were like, let's do it.
let's do it.
But if you can't,
We've had some artists on the show, and we talked about like relationships, all that stuff. But they didn't just talk about the album the whole time. They're like, hey, I'm a rapper. This is what I do. Now let's talk about relationships.
right.
So
We down to talk about relationships.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's our number one topic. That's what we like. We can agree on that. If we can agree on anything else, we can agree on that. So yeah, thank you, friend.
That's a good question. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Since this is your 100th episode, what are y'all goals for the rest of the year?
What are our goals? I haven't thought about anything.
Yeah. So a few people have asked me this question, and I'm like,
God.
to be honest with you, this has
This
been
the
like
highlight of our whole month.
this has been it. Okay, we have not even convened to discuss anything past this.
I know I have a wisdom tooth removal appointment next week, so I will be out of commission. So yeah,
Dang.
that's crazy. Yeah, they definitely have to like tear open my gums and take them out. So I'm not looking forward to that. And also I have to pay for my anesthesia. They're like, well, you don't really need to get anesthesia. I mean, you can just do without. It's gonna be like $400. I'm like, I'm gonna definitely give you $400 because I'm not about to play with y'all. Like, are you killing me? Are you kidding me right now? You're gonna literally cut open my gums and take out my teeth, and I guess you could get anesthesia if you want it. I mean, I know it's not. Why do you think we don't have money? They probably just see me and was like, she looks like she don't have no money. So let me just reason with you. Like, I'm definitely going to pay you the $400. Like, whatever it costs. 4 bands, I'll give that to you, too. I just do not want my teeth to be hurting like that or me to feel it. Because they were like, yeah, it probably won't be painful. It'll just be a lot of pressure. And I was like, no, how much does it cost? Yeah, so, yeah, I would never do that. You said take my headphones?
I don't like hearing the buzzing.
Okay. Interesting. I would definitely be doing that. Yeah, they're gonna knock me out. Yeah, it's definitely they're gonna knock me out. So I'm looking forward to that, and not looking forward to that, but I'm looking forward to being put under, because I do not want them to be awake. Me to be awake while they do that. I want them to be awake for sure. Please be awake. Please be awake. Please be all the way awake. God, please be awake. Woo. Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm actually really nervous though, because I've been going to my same dentist since I was 7 years old. Dr. Johnson, shout out to him, love him, kind of like my uncle now. Just always had a black dentist, and now I just have to. I don't care, Dr. Johnson, but he retired, so it's like a new dentist, and I'm just kind of scared. So we'll see how this goes.
It's gonna go great. You're gonna be good.
I'm shaking already thinking about it, but go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. It's cool.
I know how it is. I'm sorry. One goal I will say for us, we haven't done a collaboration or had a guest on in a while. So I think this year we'll try to incorporate more people onto the show.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people probably tired of hearing us talk. So
Yeah, absolutely. We're tired of hearing ourselves talk too. Maybe like a male guest too, because we but we haven't had a lot of male guests. So
We haven't. Yeah.
we'll probably have some on there. That's it.
If y'all know anybody, let us know.
Or if you're that somebody. But that's it. Second. What other podcasts that inspire us?
man.
Oh my God, so many. Can I start?
Go ahead, girl.
Okay. The Friend Zone
Let me go to
podcast is
mine.
probably my favorite. I literally reference their podcast probably every episode. But I really love the Friend Zone podcast. I love The Read. The Read is cool. The No One Cares podcast is pretty cool. No One Cares. So no one cares. Like no, the No One Cares podcast. The Therapy for Black Girls podcast is pretty cool. Hidden Brain is really dope. That's like about just really cool stuff that happens in the brain and how to like, I don't know, like navigate that space. I guess how we like the recent episode that we actually talked about on our podcast was like creatures of habit and how we like if we add friction to us to an activity, it makes us not want to do it. So like if you think about like working out and if you add friction is basically like making it hard for yourself. You're not going to want to do it until like becomes subconscious. Because if you think about like driving, I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds really bad, but most times it's
On autopilot.
you're on autopilot. You don't really be thinking about your reactions most times. It's like driving, you're just like, oh. And you ever have those moments when you're on the road and you be like, dang, for the past 10 minutes I have not been paying attention? Yeah. So that's because you haven't added friction to it because it's just something that's automatic. But if you add friction to an activity, it makes it like you don't want to do it. Like eating healthy and like working out. It's not that hard, but it's only hard if you're adding friction to it. So if you have cookies and cakes in the house, obviously you're going to eat them. Or if you don't want to work out and you always like pass the gym and like never have your gym clothes ready, obviously you're not going to turn back around. So yeah, I like the Hidden Brain podcast too. So,
yeah. The Friend Zone is probably one of my top ones as
Definitely.
well. The No One Cares podcast. This is the what do you call it? The host of the No One Cares podcast, Devin. Do you want to talk about your podcast, Devin? Because I feel like you do. You can.
oh my
Okay.
God.
Because I feel like you do.
I got a question a little bit.
Okay.
Y'all celebrate 100th episode. It's not about me. It's not about me.
Okay. Okay.
Y'all want to make it
We know.
The Invisibilia podcast. I don't even know how to put their podcast in the category.
It's a lot of research based.
Yeah, it's like a psychological podcast.
Yeah.
Sometimes I listen to Horrible Decisions. Don't judge me.
Yeah.
And
Hey.
Dead Ass. I like the Dead Ass podcast.
Dead Ass. Yeah, I forgot about
Our
that.
podcast,
Or
of
Angela
course.
Yee Lip Service too is pretty good. She just talks about sex. That's it. That's it. But she having everybody come on there to talk about it.
And I listen to Super Soul Sunday too with Oprah.
I know that's right.
That's my gal.
All right, gal.
What's your question, Devin?
Why you asking like that?
What you want?
Yo, what's your question, Devin?
Well, my question is, so, when it comes to doing a live show, it can be scary, putting on an event, trying to get people there. Just everything is scary about it. But you're here and you did it. We're, almost done with the episode. What advice would you give to people who are trying to deal with wanting to do something, but trying to overcome that level of uncomfortability and not being sure? Like, now that y'all have done that and y'all kind of done the 100th episode and done the live show, what would you tell somebody who's maybe scared to do something the way y'all are about this event?
I say one of the things is just to do it and not overthink it. Overthinking can stop you from doing a lot of things. I'm sure you guys all know. There was something I was going to say, but I literally just forgot what it was. Dang. Oh, think about like, when you're like gonna do something, you're like, so much can go wrong, but I like actually think and process what can go wrong. Cause like, okay, we do this show. One of the things that could have went wrong is people won't show up. People haven't shown up, but we're still going. We're still recording. We were probably going to record anyway, whether people were here or not. So when you process those thoughts, it's like less scary. Like, oh, okay, that's not actually that bad. if I do this thing and no one comes, that's fine. It won't be like
Still
terrible.
got the money though.
Right. That's
Still got the ticket sale. That's all that matters. I'm just being real. So I'm just saying whatever it wants to say. I would say, yeah, overthinking, because we are like the queens of overthinking. Thank you, queen. We are the queens of overthinking, and we do it a lot. Actually, like, even we'll ask Devin, like, what should our episode be called? And then we'll go through like a whole list of episode like options, and he'll be like, just do this one. I'm like, yeah, but what if people think it's this? And he'll be like, do this. Well, what if people think this? He's like, you know what? Never mind. Like, forget it, because we really do overthink pretty much everything, and even leading up to the event.
Go ahead.
Una was overthinking a lot. Not trying to point any fingers. I'll just point bows. But Una was overthinking a lot. And so I was like, you know what? Now I'm about to overthink too. Now let's do this. Let's get on this train together. So we did overthink a lot, down to like what to make. We literally thought about what to make. She's like, I just think we should make sandwiches. I was like, well, we need to make vegan options or a vegetarian option. She was like, who doesn't eat meat? I'm like, is that a real question? I'm like, a lot of people don't eat meat, She's like, well, who's going to be there that doesn't eat meat? And I'm like, we don't know their dietary restrictions, so I'm like, I can't go down the list of people on the list that don't eat meat, but I'm just going to assume. And she's like, well, I want to make sliders. You think we can have pork sliders? How can we have pork sandwiches, salami sandwiches, if they don't eat meat? They're definitely not going to eat that. So we thought about everything.
Yeah, we literally did.
We did.
And we had a vegetarian option. What are you talking about?
Now we had the salad. But
now we ain't got no meat, so.
Now we had no meat.
Shit.
She was so mad. She was like, well, you got everything you wanted for the event. I can't get anything I want.
I'm
like,
so sick of you right now.
I'm like, what did you want?
Oh, my God.
I'm like, what did you want? Nothing. I'm just saying. Like, okay. All right. You're just saying again. And that's when she did and didn't say anything. So, yeah, we overthink a lot. So I would say get out your own way. And I do want to do a podcast where we talk about like actually how to like do something, like how to do a podcast, like how to start it, because of course you can sit here and be motivational, like, yeah, get out there and do it, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and just get out there and throw yourself in the trenches. But it's also like, okay, what kind of mic should I get? Okay, what kind of recorder should I get? Okay, what studio do you go to? What's the average rate for a studio? Like, just stuff like that people don't really tell you about, just so people can be equipped with the tools to actually start it if they actually want to start a podcast. And just so they know, like, the behind the scenes stuff is, like, a lot.
Right.
So, yeah, I would just say. But for now, just get out your own way and educate yourself. Dr. Google is my best friend. I be Googling everything. You're going to be like, Dr. Google. You're gonna be like, how do you do this? I'm like, don't worry, I'm gonna find an answer real fast. Don't even worry about it. I'm gonna look it up. We're gonna find out together, and I'll have an answer to it in a couple minutes, because I guess now that I've started the podcast, I'm not afraid to fail, because technically speaking, I could have failed so many times with this. So I would just say, don't be afraid to fail, because you're gonna fail a couple times. We didn't fail so many times.
Yep.
Giraffe. So, yep. I say get out your own way and don't be afraid to fail.
I'm satisfied. I'm good.
Oh, you're good with that answer?
You had your hand up. Gotcha.
Bad. Appreciate you.
Does anybody else have any questions before I ask y'all a question? Because it's coming.
And it's definitely going to come. So,
all right.
Perfect.
So since we're talking about our why and our purpose and kind of things, I want you guys to think about what you think your purpose is. If you want to share it, that's great. And also, how do you evaluate if you're living in your purpose? Like, what questions do you ask yourself to confirm that you're walking in your purpose? Well, I'll give you a second.
Yeah, we'll give you a second. Time's up. It's like, no, I'm kidding. Time's up. Time's up.
Anybody have anything?
I mean, do not rush, It is.
Is it?
Okay, what was the first part of the question?
What's your purpose? What do you think your purpose is?
What do you think your purpose is?
And how do you evaluate if you are, in fact, living in your purpose?
Bingo.
It's a tough question, I know.
Hey,
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate you.
I feel like I know my purpose is to cook. I love food.
Yes.
You know how we get there. Okay.
Okay, New Orleans
So
represent.
I'm like halfway into my purpose. Because I do cook partially. But I just need to take the steps to be full time. Like my ultimate goal is to have a food truck. But labor is so expensive. So it's trying to find that balance and trying to figure things out. But I know once I get the ball rolling on that everybody gonna love my food. Just the way
Right.
people who have tried my food do. So
Do you promote your food on your Instagram?
Hello?
How can people find out about like you and what you do?
that's another part. 'Cause I'm not really social like I need to be to promote myself or promote myself. I feel like I'm not where I need to be to promote myself. So that's something I need to work on internally. And then like my whole goal is at least by August to have even just a food cart, something where I'm like downtown Denver. Y'all might see me doing crawfish tacos or some shit like that. I'm sorry.
No, baby is asleep now. You are good. Baby is asleep.
So yeah, just just having that faith and believing in yourself or something.
Yeah.
No, he had something good. What?
No, I was saying so you haven't started a business and everything yet. You're gonna try to plan to kind of make yourself that brand. Do you have social media? Would you mind if we set it on the show so we can maybe give you a jump start for people to even start looking for you, so that when you do that, they know what they're looking for? Kind of, they have a segment where they do like a black business.
Technically, right now, my girlfriend who isn't here, we have a vintage. We sell vintage clothes. So
Oh, wow.
that's what the Instagram is for. So I'll go ahead and shout that out. It's Shop Energy. So Shop INNERDGY on Instagram. I'm D Payton on Facebook. You can see like some of the photo shoots that we've done. But that's her thing. But my thing is to cook. But either way, it's still in the same household.
Right.
So
Well, whenever you do that business, let you do it.
Yeah, connect with us.
definitely down.
Definitely.
Yeah, we're with you, and we can't wait to try your food.
Definitely.
That's something I wonder. Like, how can you be like this, like person, like this big entity, if you're like not super social? Like, how do you navigate that?
Ooh.
Girl, what girl?
Can we give it the mic? I feel like they won't be able to hear.
She gonna have to come over.
Angel, you're gonna have to come over here, sis. Please. And thank you. Have the floor. Have my mic. You can sit here if you like. You want to sit down?
No, I'll just squat. I don't have to be on the thing. It's not my show.
Okay.
Um,
Right. The Meg the Stallion needs.
but okay, so this is really crazy, but this is something. So I think that if you're a person like me, like I don't really like to go out a lot. Like I'm really never out. But I think that you can create something. Like my whole idea is to like get my message out, not necessarily to be famous, right? And so like I can create. I have already created social media pages, right? That are catered to the things that I love to do, but you don't necessarily know that it's me, right? And so like you could follow things that I've created and not even know that you're sitting next to me, right? Which is kind of interesting, because then if you hear someone talk about it, you can't necessarily say that's my shit, right? Because that kind of blows it. But yeah, like I think that there is a certain power behind like being anonymous and like people knowing your craft and like loving your art, because I put my stuff out there because I believe in it, and I don't necessarily want the fame from it, you know what I mean? So I think that you can still follow your passion and what drives you and nourishes you without necessarily having to be famous for it. So that's an option.
Thank you, Angel.
Mike, do you want to give over names and social?
No.
You just heard Angel speak from one of our episodes.
People know me.
Yeah, she one of our episodes. The Rose I Grew from Concrete was Angel. She was on that show. So if you want to go back to one of our past episodes, you'll hear her.
Okay, my bad.
No, you're fine. No big deal. Yeah.
It's just Angel.
It's just Angel. That's underscore. Just so you know. Wink, wink. Anybody else want to answer that question that Una asked? Second.
Yes. Okay.
Second part. Let go my second.
You coming over here? Or you staying over there?
Please come over here second. Our behind the scenes photographer.
You can sit down if you have the good news.
Yeah.
I don't have the good. Meg the Stallion. Yeah, no.
Right.
I think that when I don't necessarily know if I'm walking in my purpose yet, but I feel like when you are starting to, like, the stars kind of just align for you. So my favorite book is The Alchemist. I read it like once a year, and even if it feels like you're taking a couple steps back, you're still on the right path. I think I got my first paid gig to do photography. I've always loved taking photos. Thank you. I just found a disposable camera from like 6th grade, so that's as far back as I know that I've been taking photos. But I got my first paid gig, and it was the way that the stars aligned for me when I did that. I just knew that I was definitely walking in the right path, and my boo definitely pushed me to do more of that and actually get paid for my passions. But I think that no matter, the journey is never just a straight line. And so when it feels like the universe is conspiring in your favor, then that's when you know that you are walking the path that is for you. So, yeah.
Amen, girl. I definitely agree with that. Okay. I think I definitely agree. Like even doing this podcast, it was just like an opportunity. Like it was just there. Not to say it was easy or anything, but there was a lot of ease to it. Just reaching out and saying, I want to be a part of this. How can I do that? Or I want to try this out. How can I do that? I don't know. It's like when we get older, we're afraid to like walk into certain spaces because you're like, I can't try that. It's like already there, but it's like that's not the case. They need one more. They need you. There's no one like you out there.
Fair.
Anybody else on your purpose?
Before we,
I have one more.
out.
Okay, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, go
What's
ahead.
your question, friend?
Okay. So this is me getting all of in your business.
Yes. My favorite part.
What are you clinging to that defines you, but you're ready to let go of?
Interesting.
What are you clinging to that defines you, but you're ready to let go of? Or you think it defines you? Yes, Angel Girl.
Meg the Stallion Jr. Come on. Are you sure?
Yeah, I mean, I can sit. That was the last of my good knees. I'm telling you that right now. I can't do that again. I don't know. What a way to use it.
Okay.
But I think, honestly, for me, the things that I'm holding on to now are just like personal belongings. I don't know. Like I got in a car wreck last year, and I had a really nice car, and then like obviously my car was totaled, and I still haven't bought a new one because I've literally been like, I have panic attacks about like buying a new car and like people seeing me in my old car and being like, oh, so she's not doing well, right? Like she's like, why is she driving this car again, right? Why hasn't she got a new car? And when I had that like visceral reaction to driving my old car, I challenged myself to like not get a new car because my old car still works. And so I'm doing more of that in my life and trying to get rid of just like, why do I have to wear name brand things? Why do I have to have these expensive, like, there are so many, like right now I'm trying to shop only black art, like clothing lines or everything black is what I'm trying to be on right now. And so it's like these clothes are just as nice as something with a more known brand. Like, so why am I pushing myself to buy something that's like $1,000 when I can get something that's the same type of thing? But like I feel like I don't know. That's what I feel like defines me. Like I feel like I look nice. I dress nice, and like people see that, and trying to let that go in a way that's like I don't always have to have the like latest and greatest on. Like I'm still popping either way.
Yes, you are.
You're still that girl.
So yeah, that's mine.
Thank you for sharing that. One of her deep dark secrets.
Girl.
Anybody else have a secret they want to share?
A secret.
Not secret, but
What
you
are
know.
you clinging to?
You know what I'm trying to say. It's a secret. Sometimes it's a secret.
Oh, okay. Imposter syndrome. Oh, wow, sis, we've had an episode on that because we definitely have had it. Does everybody know what imposter syndrome is? Okay. Yeah, that was a yes. Okay. Imposter syndrome is when you enter a space that you just think that it's not the space for you to be in because you feel like you're not prepared, you're not ready, or you're just not worthy of being in that space.
And you don't belong.
You don't belong. So that's what it is. And we have suffered for that before.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So, yeah. Y'all good? No more questions? Ready to...
Oh, no.
so,
yeah.
I think we're all good then.
Yeah. Once again, we want to thank you guys for spending your time with us. We so appreciate
Saturday
it.
night.
Yeah, we know y'all, ready to turn up. And
Right.
stuff. Or some people
turn down.
All right, some
turn
people
down.
not. Okay.
Right, turn down. It's fine. You guys look nice. We just assumed you wanted to go out.
All right.
You look great. That's fine. Well, we just want to say thank you. Please eat all the food because we do not want to take anything home. But if not, we'll take some stuff home. It's fine.
Yeah. Thank you for being here with us, and thank you for sharing your stories. Sometimes we don't make a move because we feel like we're the only person feeling the way. We're the only person doubting ourselves, but we all do it, and we all need help. And I don't know, I feel like as a community, we're here to help each other. So just keep doing that. Yeah. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys.
Thank you. And I want to shout out to all my close friends that reached out and like they were buying their tickets before I could even give them a discount. And they're like, no, I'm not doing a discount. And they actually just like rallied around and just came. So thank you. You know who you are.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Love you. Bye.
We out.
Oh, my God. You're out the way.